Pokemon are great at battling, but are they any good at business? In most Pokemon games, we see Pokemon with jobs, but never running the show. Luckily, there's a spin-off game where questions can be answered. I'm Modern Toad, and I graduated from one of America's top business schools with really good grades. Today, we're diving deep into the economics of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and we're going to rate every single business in Treasure Town. Before we get into it, let's talk about some of the criteria that we're going to be judging these stores on. We're going to be judging them based on things like usefulness of service, how ethical their business is, and believe me, there are some that are definitely teetering the line, and finally, how much poke they probably bring in. Business has got to make money, and that's the most important thing. So let's get into it. And fair warning, some of your favorite NPCs are about to get roasted. Is this the most visited store in the game? Pretty easily. Got overflowing inventory? Kangaskhan's got your back. She provides remote storage, which is a crucial service, especially after you just got done with a deep dungeon dive and your inventory is full of apples, crud gummies, and that one weird rock that you picked up. The issue? She doesn't charge anything. She kind of reminds me of my mom's house after I moved out. I had a lot of crud that I didn't want to get rid of, so I just store it at my mom's house. I don't want to sell it, but I also don't want to throw it away. That's kind of what the Kangaskhan store is for. Except for she's not related to me. In fact, she's a complete stranger. Now, storage is a legitimate business model in the real world, but in the real world, they charge a monthly fee, and Kangaskhan doesn't. And this is especially bad because her clientele, which is mostly rescue teams, are some of the richest people in town. Surely they can afford a few Poke for the services of storing their crud for a day. And even worse than that, she's dragging her child into this. I mean, this isn't a lemonade stand, and I'm pretty sure this constitutes as child labor. With these business practices, I'm starting to understand why the father isn't in the picture. There are two fixes that this store needs to implement. One, charge a monthly rent. And two is a little bit more of a creative solution. Charge to rent power scarves and stuff. I mean, I know I've found myself storing a lot of held items that I don't use but don't want to lose in Kangaskhan store. Maybe you rent those out for some subscription fee or something. That's all the rage now. I don't know, just getting creative with the solutions. Overall, I'd rate this a 3 out of 10. She's got a lot of customers, but zero monetization. Soup kitchen for millionaires. Xatu's Appraisal. For 150 Poke, he will open up a treasure box that you find in a dungeon. That's a great price. That's the same amount of Poke as like getting a bounty for like a mass murder in Caterpie in Applewoods or something. But this is fast and completely risk-free. I don't think you'll find a better way of getting 150 Poke. But the branding, let's just say it's horrible and a bit misleading. I mean, it's called Xatu's Appraisal, but he's not telling you how much the box is worth. He's just opening it. Like, that's not what appraisal is. And also, I'm confused on why this is a Xatu specific job. Xatu's whole thing is future sight, right? And it's nice that you can predict the end of the world and natural disasters and stuff like that. But really, I just need a key or some sort of large blunt object to get this box open right now. And what's stopping somebody else from coming and doing it? I mean, Xatu's not like a particularly smart or strong Pokemon. What's stopping Electivire from coming in and just deciding to open up boxes? He looks capable of it. And I think they notice this too, because in later games, Xatu's Appraisal is replaced by Rampardos's Box Buster, which, while sounding like an awesome name for a male brothel, is also a much more straightforward name for what the service being provided. I mean, they're busting open the treasure chest. They're busting the boxes. Overall, I give this business a 5 out of 10. It has great pricing. It's got a good need. The issue is I'm not sure there's anything stopping anybody else from providing this service, like a large rock. Duskull Bank is next, and this one right here, it's a little bit evil genius brilliant. I always thought Duskull made way more sense as a bank owner than Persian from the last games. I mean, in Duskull's Pokedex, it explicitly states multiple times that he specializes in passing through solid objects. So I always just assumed that Duskull kept everybody's money safe in some sort of windowless, doorless box that only he could pass through. Persian, on the other hand, always felt a little bit too money obsessed. And I don't know if that's an actual thing about Persians, or I've just watched too much of Meowth and Persian on Team Rocket in the anime. Hashtag not all Persians. So Duskull's power lets him phase through walls and keep your money safe. But here's where it gets devious. Duskull doesn't pay any interest. So he can just take your money loan it out and gain interest on those loans without ever having to worry about the payments to the people in the bank. That's like the main point of a bank. So I don't know why anybody stores their Poke in here, but they clearly do because he's the only shop in town. He's running a real world bank without the pesky part where you have to pay customers back interest. And for that, I'm ranking this a 10 out of 10. Is it ethically questionable? Yes. But is it genius? Also yes. Duskull is the Jeff Bezos of Treasure Town. Next up, the Kecleon Shop, run by two brothers. One green selling everyday items, and one purple that sells rare items like orbs and TMs. Now that I'm thinking about it, is it confirmed that they're actual brothers? I mean, they say that they're brothers, right? I might need somebody to check on me, but they don't look the same, especially the purple one. The Kecleon Shop is great because they have greatly priced items and they rotate stocks every day. The other awesome thing about their business is they run pop-up shops inside dungeons. A rescue team can be dying of hunger on the 64th floor of Mount Doom, and all of a sudden, they run across a Kecleon shop selling an overpriced apple. I can guarantee you're gonna sell a lot of apples to starving Pokemon. But here's the kicker. The Kecleon goons that protect their pop-up shops are the strongest Pokemon in the entire game. They have maxed out stats. I mean, I think this is why there are no other shops in town. Everybody is too afraid to compete with them. And to be honest, I don't blame them. I mean, I wouldn't want to go into direct competition against an army of green lizards that are all stronger than the gods of time and space themselves. Overall, I give this store an 8 out of 10. It's got excellent monetization. It's got complete market dominance. The only reason I deduct 2 points is because I think the Kecleon brothers should be taking over Treasure Town and the whole entire world with their army instead of running a 7-Eleven. Now we find ourselves at the Electivire Link Shop, where for just 500 Poke, you can link 2 moves together. And that 500 Poke, that's pretty pricey, especially considering the last game, Gulpin would do it for 150. I like to think this means Electivire can also do it for 150, but he just chooses to price gouge the citizens of Treasure Town. And I feel like this is especially funny because the citizens of Treasure Town are all like de facto police and firefighters. Like they're out there catching criminals and helping people. And instead of giving a hero's discount like you would at a sandwich shop, he's actively jacking up the rates. And what's even better than raising the rates is the fact that it's a reoccurring service. Link moves break when their PP runs out. So Electivire should have a constant stream of customers coming back. Any serious rescue team would want to have at least one move linked. Later games don't have this issue, which again, I'd like to think Electivire is being savvy and selling an inferior product just so he can have the reoccurring service. In general, he's selling the medicine, not the cure. Overall, I rank this a 7 out of 10. He's a savvy businessman with a good business model, but overall, I find his prices a little bit too steep. Marowak Dojo. Risk-free training? Sounds like a good business plan. The issue? Marowak is not charging for it. It is completely free. In fact, I think he might actually be giving away money. And this isn't a small free stand like Kangaskhan's. This place is huge, houses hundreds of Pokemon, and I assume would require thousands of hours to set up these mazes. Overall, this business just brings up too many questions, like who builds the mazes every night? Who pays rent? Who are these Pokemon in the mazes? Do they want to be there? Are they paid for their service? There's items and money lying on the floor in these dungeons that you can take and leave. Did Marowak provide those? Also, as an aside, the building itself is completely structurally unviable. On Bulbapedia, it actually says that this dojo crumbles to the ground after the events of this game. This is also one of those few businesses that even if they started charging, I don't think they would make money. Because even if you charged 100 Poke, wouldn't a rescue team rather go to Applewoods for free or something rather than spend time in Marowak's knockoff mazes? Rating 1 out of 10. It appears to be bleeding money. The building itself is clearly unsafe. There's possibly unpaid labor going on, and I think this is more likely to be some sort of cult than a business. Next up is Chansey Daycare. Chansey can hatch eggs. No one else can. And she doesn't charge anything? I hope she's on a government salary like Magnemite, but if not, she's throwing away her monopoly. Also, Dark Thought, she raises them until they hatch and then sends them off to work for the rescue teams immediately? That's morally murky. So after going through every store in Treasure Town, here are the final rankings. I'm not going to blame the Pokemon for being bad at business. I mean, who am I to talk? I clearly don't have that good a business sense. That's why I'm spending all my free time making niche videos for a game that came out 15 years ago and wasn't even very heralded upon release. But in all seriousness, if you stuck around this long, consider liking the video or subscribing so I can continue to put out more Pokemon Mystery Dungeon content.